We begin the news in Nigeria's south-south, where Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has expressed outrage over the brutal attack on military personnel in Okuama community. In a strongly worded statement, Governor Oborevwori condemned the killings, calling them unprovoked and alien to the culture of Deltans. The governor extended his deepest condolences to the families of the slain soldiers, the Nigerian Army, and armed forces as a whole. The governor urged Delta residents to remain calm and law-abiding, assuring them that the state will continue to prioritize the safety and security of its citizens. In the meantime, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, had directed immediate investigation and arrest of those involved in a heinous crime. Now, joining me on the news to discuss this issue is the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Delta State on Civic Engagement and Civil Society, Rex Omojite Anigoro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
So can you kindly give us insight into the circumstances that contributed to the escalation of tensions in that particular community, Okuama, and what might have led to the attack on the military personnel?
First and foremost, I would like to clearly state that at this point in time, I have no mandate of the government to speak as a government official. But as an activist who has been in this space, it is important for me to state that I want to express my deepest condolences to the families of our citizens who have been lost. And I say citizens because both the army and the people of Okuama and the people of Okoloba are all citizens, and all their lives are of equal importance to every one of us. And so I want to see it from that perspective, first and foremost, that this is a condolence to all the citizens of the Nigerian people whose lives have been lost in this needless conflict. But let me state very clearly that land disputes are well known to all of us in this part of the world. Not just this part of the world, we can also know that the Israeli and the Palestinian land disputes are also there at the international scale. But right here in Delta, we have land disputes here and there. The Alaja-Ogbejo land dispute is there, the Okuama dispute and the Koloba dispute is there. And like you know, all of these disputes have their own sides. The people have their own claims to the issues. And then it means that when you look at the claims, you may not be able to deal with the situation. So what you do often is to look for a win-win situation for both the parties, for all the parties. Everybody becomes a winner at the end of the day. That's the way to deal with situations like this, as we are taught in nonviolence education. And so I think that land dispute is central to the issue before us. And the state government, Delta State government, under the leadership of His Excellency, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, has done its bit by ensuring that a peace accord was reached by both parties, the Okoloba community of Bomodi local government area and the Okuama community of Uganda South local government area. A peace accord was reached in the presence of state officials, and that is expected to be what is taken from what should be the norm from the people.
Okay, so
this escalation of conflict.
I understand. Sorry, I need to come in here. So we understand that there could be disputes in whatever form of guys' land, and whatever it is that the case may be. So why did it translate into an attack on security personnel that were sent to ensure that peace returns between these warring communities? Because the governor came out to say that this is alien to the culture of Deltans. So what triggered the attack on these security personnel?
I think, again, this is a very contentious issue because as one who has been in the civil society space, I've been receiving calls and receiving information from left, right, and center. And we have been seeing reports also on online as to what could have triggered this. People are of the belief that there are forces beyond the normal that are propelling this conflict. For example, people from a Okoloba community believe that this is an invasion of their community, that people have always wanted them to be sacked from the community. They believe that, people believe that they are settlers and they are tenants, and as such, they must leave that particular place. We have heard people say that that's one of the reasons, and that they don't want the Okuama people to remain there. The Okuama people, on the other hand, are saying, no, we have been together for years. We cannot sack our brothers. But they believe that some people are not comfortable with the peace in the area. And because they're not comfortable with the peace in the area and the peace accord, they feast on a conflict, and therefore could have escalated or led to this level of conflict. Because despite the land disputes, like the governor has said, in these particular areas, this kind of conflict have not risen over the years. So why now? What has prompted it now? Who are the provocateurs of this present conflict? And so that is where people are calling for investigation, to find out if there are other persons who are going to profit from this conflict, and because of that, they have become the proprietors and the provocators of this conflict. Because age-long crisis has been there, but they've been able to manage to live in peace, and then they signed the peace accord, and both communities have said, we agree to stay by the peace accord. And so people are saying, information are everywhere, that there could be fifth columnists, people who benefit from conflict, who want this conflict to escalate, or who wants to see to it that the communities, like the way the Okuama have claimed, to be sacked from their communities, will be a profit to them. This is where I think the call for investigation has become very, 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 very serious, not to undermine.
So, of course, this is a situation of a tensed mood based on the fact that there are misunderstandings, there are squabbles, and there are claims and entitlements to certain properties, and that has resulted in escalation of crisis within those communities. But now we know that there's a security committee that has been set up. Are there any moves being made as of now to ensure that there's a mediation and this committee would go ahead to resolve whatever disputes that may be, that may have, of course, a reason between these two communities? Are efforts in motion to ensure that right now?
Yeah, I will be able to speak to that fact as it were, because I'm not part of that security committee. And then I know that security issues are not issues that you bring in the public domain without clearances. But what I know is that there are human rights abuses, there are extrajudicial murders ongoing, and this is not what we need for Delta State, for the Niger Delta region at this time. And as such, the call for peace building, the call for non-violence, the call for brotherhood is more important at this time. And we do not want humanitarian crisis in our hands. We already have serious economic issues before us. And so the civil society leaders who have been reaching out to me have been saying that there should be call to say no. The military should be more professional in its dealing and engagement in these communities, and not to be seen to be burning down communities, as the claims are already there that the military, they're burning down communities. This I don't want to believe, but we want to say that I believe that the government of Delta State can do and is doing enough already to de-escalate the tension, and which is the most important security measure that should be taken. People have been saying that, don't take side. We cannot take side. What we need to do is to call for peace and to ask everyone at this time, all men of goodwill, everywhere in the world, to stand with the people of a global community, with the people of a Okuama community, and especially for women and children who will now be distressed, who are not part of this conflict, who do not know the issues concerning this conflict, now be made to become victims and homeless. These are the issues before us. How do we deal with these issues? Why the state government and the federal government, because this is no longer just a state government issue, it has assumed a national dimension with the killings of military men who are national assets. So we think that the humanitarian crisis that is being created must be dealt with right now, and all men of goodwill must join hands with civil society, must join hands with our ethnic groups and our leaders to deal with this situation.
Okay, before I let you go, sorry, I might just have to take you back a little bit, because you mentioned that earlier, there have been issues on ground before, way before time, in terms of squabbles or fights as regards land disputes, and probably some atrocities being committed by the military personnel in time past that you do not want to believe. Could it have been that there could have been some certain elements within the community using the machination of security operatives to undermine the rights of the community members that has now resulted in a sort of a reprisal against these military men that we also may need to look into, so that we can prevent such occurrence, even if they try to rear its head again?
As we mourn the death of our beloved military men, we want to state this very emphatically, that we want to believe that the information here and the defenses to and fro, or the counterclaims and claims are not true. Where people are saying that, oh, the military is being used to fight against one community or the other, we want that to be investigated, if that is true. Because the Okuama people are saying that the military is being used against them, and that what they've always wanted is to sack their community, and that sacking the community now is a gain to another. I don't want to believe this is true. But you see, when you have this kind of issues, it's important that you look at them and investigate all of them and bring them before fall, and then look at the merits or the demerits, or throw away what is not correct. And we also want to believe that they've lived together for all these years, and that humanity should take a greater place in the hearts of men, more than the ownership of land, that we all will live one day. And so whether the Okuama people are tenants or the Okoloba people are landlords, whether the Ijaws in that area are the owners of that place or the Robos are the owners of that place, to me it's immaterial. It is humanity. People are dying. Communities and livelihoods are upended. This should be the call to all men of goodwill to address. And that is why we are calling on Human Rights Watch, we are calling on Amnesty International, we are calling on the United Nations, the US government, and every foreign commission to take this issue very seriously and support the Delta state government and the Nigerian government to deal with these issues, because the more we have all of these issues in our communities, the more it is difficult for the government to develop or to concentrate on development. We'll be dealing on humanitarian crisis and conflicts. And that's where civic engagement comes in, because these are issues of citizens' concern that we must look at. As one who has been the spokesperson of the foremost Niger Delta group, we know that in our Niger Delta group, we have Robos, we have Ijaws, we have Ichekiris, we have Ukwanis, and so everybody belongs to the Niger Delta, and we must be able to live as one.
All right, Ireg Somojite Anugoro, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.